Hi, hi. So it has been quite a long time since I've been on and done any sort of reactions or talked about movies or anything. I mean, I do that a lot in real life, trust me. But it's been a long time since I've been doing it online on my YouTube channel. And I want to apologize for that. I don't I was focusing on other things at the moment, and I realized how much I do love talking about movies and interacting with you guys. And it was a really beautiful thing. And I thank you for sticking around through that whole process. If you don't know who I am Brandi Price, and this is a baseline beatnik. Um, wait, can you hear me? Let me check my microphone. Oh, well, see, it's not working. Yeah, okay, good. This is my first ever live. I don't know where I've been with things. I've done a lot of Zoom over the past couple of years because, the whole pandemic and everything. That was fun. So, like I was saying, this is Baseline Beatnik. I am Brandi Price, and I'm going to be talking about movies. The name of this new segment is called Let's Talk Movies. So, Let's Talk is going to be a couple of different things. I have Let's Talk Movies, and then I'm going to do another one about acting and filmmaking. So, I'll be talking about that from my personal perspective, but also bringing other people in on it as well. So, we'll get into that. Today, we're going to be talking about The Harder They Fall, and this is a movie that is now streaming on Netflix. My phone is on. Usually I turn my ringer off. Sorry about that. Um, so this movie is called The Harder They Fall, and it's currently streaming on Netflix. Um, and it's directed by James Samuel, and it's Jey, which is a cool spelling. I've never seen it like that. And also, he has, strangely and coolly enough, a song in there as well. So he's on the soundtrack too. And this is starring Idris Elba, who I absolutely adore as an actor. He's just incredible, from Beast of No Nation to Luther, and like everywhere in between, from the Suicide Squad, the just a lot of things. And we'll talk about more about his role in this one later. But it also stars Jonathan Majors, Zazie Beetz, which I haven't seen her in anything before, but she was freaking fantastic. And Damon Wayans Jr., who looks exactly like Damon Wayans Sr. So that's always weird. I was like, oh, it's it. Oh no, it can't be him. He's like too young. So it was that, and then we have, what else do we have? Um, we have Coffee, Danielle, Deadweiler. She was amazing. And then we have Regina King, of course, she played Trudy, and Lakeith Stanfield, who played Cherokee Beale. I absolutely loved his character, and I loved his portrayal. He was fantastic. R.J. Seiler also, as Beckworth, and he was incredible. I love both of them. And then Eddie Gathegi as Pickett, and all of the acting I really, really loved in this film. So before we get started on the actual film, how about we do like a little bit of trivia? No, it's not really trivia because I'm going to tell you the answer and I'm not going to give you any choices. So, boy is like one of those really demeaning things that you say to people, like, especially if they're a grown person. And calling people boy is never, never good. So, the term cowboy was coined back in the day, only for African American people who were ranchers, what we know to present day as cowboys. Like everybody back then was not called cowboys. So cowboys then that were African American were called cowboys, and white ranchers were called cowhands, because cowboy and the boy specifically was a demeaning term for those people. And I was like, oh, that's really. Oh, hi, the Big Reese Project. How you doing? It's been like ages. How the hell are you? My name is spelled also with an I, but that's okay. I'll forgive you. Christian, it's really good to see you too. Thanks for popping on. You guys are amazing. I thought I was just going to be on here talking to myself, honestly. Like it's been a minute, and you know how it goes. So let's just start talking about the movie. So in general, I really did enjoy this film. It is a different perspective on a typical Western, the one that we're accustomed to seeing, like, with a lot of super, super vast landscapes and, like and the music obviously is different in this as well. They kind of had this cool, like, island slash country vibe for the music throughout the soundtrack, and that was really interesting, and it was cool. Um, when I first started watching the movie, to be honest, they did this, like, weird remix thing when they were doing the opening credits after that initial first scene, which was devastating, by the way. And can we talk about Idris Elba's entrance? Man, that guy is, like, so good. He has such presence and charisma, and Old Town Road, okay, yeah, I really liked it too. Ryan, yeah, thanks for commenting. I really like that. The twist was incredible. Like, I don't know how I feel about spoilers. How do you guys feel about spoilers? We'll talk about them at the very, very end, and then I'll give like a spoiler alert type of thing going on. You could kind of tell a little bit, but once again, we'll talk about that in the very end. I haven't seen Old Town Road, so I'll have to check that out because I do like the music a lot. Um, okay, so what one thing that so two things when I first started that I didn't really really love was he did this weird remix thing like with the footage and everything like it was going to be like old school like that kind of I don't know if that makes sense, but that sound is kind of like the epitome of like that old-timey film to me. Um, oh yeah, you're probably right. I'm terrible with music. I'm like the worst. Old Town Road is a very famous hip hop country song. Yeah, and I'm probably have heard it and just don't know who sings it or I probably know the lyrics though, and that's important, right? Okay, so yeah, I didn't love that part. And then I also thought like in the very, very beginning, it was very, very clean. Like the house and everything was super, super clean. I don't know if you guys noticed that when you watched it too. It was like you were I don't know. It just didn't seem like very classic Western to me. Like where it's a little bit gritty and it's a little bit dirty. And then we get into this, and then the relationships are established with. Oh, by the way, all of these characters are real. They are historical figures. However, the story itself is not. Um, they didn't have all of these interactions and stuff, so they took a lot of artistic liberties with the story. So, any of you historians out there know that I know that this is not historically accurate, but those characters did exist in our history. So, the Nat Love Gang and all of those things, they did do it. Let's see. I made some little notes because I've never done a live before, and it was a little in so when I know that when Wayans like into I think they just all of that whole family, they have this innate thing about wanting to do a like a comedic kind of turn. And at first he was really kind of falling into it. Maybe that was his first day on set or something, and he was really falling into the comedic aspects of of the role, which could work because there were some like comedic elements to it. But then he became more invested in the situation, which I really loved. So and I appreciated that as an actor, and I wasn't I wasn't expecting to see him. Um, Cuffy. Let's talk about the character Cuffy. Cuffy was such a cool character. And she is based off of a real person named Cathay Williams. And Cathay Williams was actually in the army, and she posed as a man in the army. And then she went through all these physicals and everything. And then I guess they didn't want to tell, or they didn't for like the longest, longest time. And then finally she got sick, and then she got outed as a female and in the army. So they kicked her out, and then she was recognized as a member of the military, but then they took it all away. They never offered her any compensation or anything for that, even though that there were other women who had done the same thing. They just happened to be white, and so they got recompense, and then she didn't. And I was like, that's kind of effed up, guys. But anyway, back to Cuffy. Cuffy herself was such a cool character because obviously it brings representation to. Then they took a little bit of liberty because they don't know if she was trans or if she was non-binary or anything like that. But they did take a little bit of liberty regarding that, and including like the implied relationship between her and Mary, and also like her dressing that way all of the time. Like there are no depictions of her, I don't think, that I saw. Oh, yeah, Idris Elba was incredible. He was so, so good. Um, yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. He's like one of my favorite actors of all times. But with Kathy, like I think it's really cool that they did include her and they took liberties with it. But it's also nice to see that representation in a period piece because I don't know that I've ever seen that before in a western. Certainly not a western that I can recall, and I think that's really cool. You see tough women. There have been a lot of tough women, but not someone who dressed as a man and was kind of presented as a very manly figure and tough. So we talk about Pickett. Pickett was so good. Like I just loved him. And then Cherokee Bill was so like he's like, "Oh, so sweet," and then he's like, "Ah, I'm gonna murder, death, kill." You're like, "What the heck?" um, I just, oh, he was. Ryan said, "It's so good. He's so good in everything that you completely forget he was even in Cats." And he's talking about Idris Elba again, and that is so true. Let's talk about Idris's character. Idris. Um, so from the very, very beginning, he speaks very, very little. And he just like that whole opening scene is traumatic. And then later on you find out all the backstory about it and you're like, "Oh my god." That's the twist that we'll talk about again later. But I think he's the epitome of doing less and saying so much more from an actor's perspective because so many actors think that they need to fill all the spaces with movement or with eating or with doing something. And I don't think that you need to do that. You just sit there and you're you and it's doing the thing. You're doing it and it's really it's amazing when that's caught on screen and then you get a person that is able to exemplify that so well, and Idris does that. And not to mention his accents are insane. Obviously, well, I don't know if you know this, but he is British, and in this, you just never can. You don't know where he's from. In Beast of No Nation, um, y- you would never think that he was not from Africa. In this film, The Harder They Fall, you would never think that he's not American. In Luther, you would never think that he's not from the UK, which he is, but you get what I mean. He's also in this really cool Turn It Up, Charlie. I think that's what it's called, and that's really good. Um, Old Henry. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to watch that. Maybe I'll do like a western genre thing and just watch a lot of western movies, like old and new, and see where they go. Okay, let's see what else I have. Oh, also speaking of accent, Regina King. She played Trudy, and I'm not sure where Trudy Gertrude. I don't remember what her real name was. It was Gertrude something, but she played Trudy, and she had this really cool, interesting Jamaican slash like Western accent, and I was kind of I couldn't really place it. It was really cool, and I never seen her in a role um where she'd done like an accent like that, and I thought that was awesome, and and what I loved about this is there were a lot of really strong women in the cast, and they could take care of themselves too, like, and they weren't always at the beck and call of someone else or a man or anything. Uh, so Ryan says it came out last year and stars Tim Blake Nelson. Yeah, Tim Blake. I've heard a lot about it, and I just haven't seen it. I also, to be fair, I did not see Cats, but I did that intentionally because I just didn't want to see it. And I love musicals, but it had, like, such terrible reviews. I was like, "Why do I wanna put myself through it?" Um, yeah, Zazie Beetz. Zazie Beetz was incredible. Like, first of all, she's drop dead gorgeous, and that fight scene there's a fight scene, spoiler alert, between her and, Regina King, and it's just really it's really good. There was only one time where I thought it was a little bit, theatrical where they she had a bottle, and at that time, bottles were very, very thick, and it just, like, crashed over her head, and I was like, "I didn't have to do that." You can just, like, "Donk." Like, it'd be a hard, like, hit and not doesn't have to hit. But it's but to be fair, that's actually safer for the actors to have that breakaway glass. So, Zazie Beetz was so good. And I haven't watched Atlanta. I've heard some good I know she's in that show, Atlanta, and I've never watched it, but I heard that she's good in that as well. I'm just I'm like, I'm on this weird, like, sci-fi kick where I just wanna watch sci-fi. And I've been watching, like, a lot of that stuff lately. Um, the imagery in in the movie was pretty cool. I loved how in, oh gosh, I forget the name of the town, Red something? Yeah, well, Red something, Redstone. Let's just say Redstone. I don't know. We'll just call it Redstone. It's fine. So, Redstone, and then they went into like the White Town, and it was just white, and there was only one splash of color in the entire thing, besides Coffee in her, like, red dress, which was, um, so weird to see her in that, like, she looked so uncomfortable, and she played that so well. Um, I don't know if, she's trans or non-binary in real life, but they played it very, very well. Um Oh, Lakeith Stanfield? Oh, he was incredible, and I was doing a little research on him, and he actually went to Yale, I think, Yale School of the Arts, so he has some clout in the acting world, like going to, like, a cool, program, like, it's like going to Tisch or NYU or something. So, which I'm looking a little NYU myself today, like with my black turtleneck. It's like a classic, like what 80s, 90s theater actor, like 70s even, like theater with my black turtleneck. Sorry, I'm gonna take a drink because my throat's getting a little dry. I don't think I usually talk this much. Okay. Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield is just an incredible actor, and Zazie Beetz was also fabulous. In fact, the entire cast was really good. The only person I didn't really love was the guy who played Nat Love's father in the beginning scene. I was like, doesn't sound like he's really. I'm gonna give this away. He dies in the first scene. It's not a spoiler because it's within like the first 3 minutes of the film. I didn't love his performance. I thought he looked kind of like a nice guy, but I didn't love it. And I feel also they got a younger guy to play an older man. Um, I don't know if now is the time to talk about spoilers, but maybe we should. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Like, if you don't want to hear this, don't. If you haven't watched it and you don't like spoilers, don't watch this part. Okay, so now that that's done, So I think what happened is they cast this guy to play himself when he was younger. Um, and maybe they cut those scenes or whatnot. I'm not sure because he looked really, I don't know, he looked a little young to be Idris Elba's father at that time. Like maybe, I don't know. He just looked really young. Maybe that's just me. But what? Idris Elba and who was playing Buck, Rufus Buck. It's like a Buck. It's just like a funny name. Um, I, I had someone used to call me that like as my nickname. I don't know. Well, it's from Brandi Buck from Lord of the Rings. Well, anyway, but Rufus Buck and then Nat Love. What? Yes. What is it said? That was probably the whole point. So the twist would have been more striking. Yeah, maybe. I just thought that he looked. I don't know. To me, it looked like they just hired a younger actor and then put some like gray hair on him instead of hiring an older actor. And I think that's probably because they had some scenes that they cut, and that's probably why it was that person as opposed to an older actor. Because it is harder to have someone play younger when they're older than it is to have someone younger when play older. Um, but yeah, what? It's so cool though. Like I just really loved his whole monologue at the end. Him not saying anything almost the entirety of the whole film was so much more dramatic when he said that monologue. And I just think that it was kind of perfectly played, from both of them, from both Jonathan Majors and Idris Elba. And I hadn't seen Jonathan Majors in anything either because I haven't seen Lovecraft Country yet, and that I know that is s- the monologue. Yeah, was is that what you're talking about? Is the best part of the movie? Yeah, very, very likely that was my favorite part of the movie is the very, very end. But, one thing I do wish they had more of was more, more landscape pieces. I felt this one was a little bit, too too close, like you're up in their face, like, a lot of the time, like, it's close, 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 close from one close up to another close up to maybe a medium shot, and then, they didn't have very many wide shots. And that's what I think I was missing in this film, but overall, I really think, I just I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film. I particularly enjoyed the acting, and for this to be one of, his first, his first features, I think that's super, super cool. So, I know how much it takes to make a film, and James Samuel, you got it. You got it, man. Oh, I didn't talk about the imagery as much as I wanted to. Like when we went into that, they went into the white town, and it's all white. It's like everything in the whole town is white except for that one green door, and the green door is maybe symbolic of the bank that they're going into because of the money. I don't know, but it was really cool to see that, um, how they have no color like in their life, both literally and yeah, I just yeah, I love that imagery of it. So that took some some forward thinking, and I really enjoyed that. So I don't really know what else to say about. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about the movie? Ryan, you're here with me. You've been commenting along with me. What do you think? Is there anything that you would like to say about the movie? Uh, well, this was a cool like first attempt at a live stream. Like I said, I've never done it before, and I can talk. Like I can talk like a maniac. Yeah. Ryan said he pretty much said all he needed to say. And I think I was trying to make sure that he was being included in this too. And I think I've said everything that I needed to say about this as well. Like I can't think of anything else. Uh let's check my notes. He says, I did really like how unique it was as a Western, exploring the more African American side of things. Yeah, I did love that part too. I just viewed it as honestly, like I just viewed it as a Western. Like the only time it was like I really thought about that was when, hi Flickerman, how you doing? Good to see you too. I know it's been a long time. But the only time I really, really thought about it was when they went into the White Town. And I was like, oh shit, there's no color. Uh, and oh, and we're also assholes. Oh, white people are assholes. Oh no. But yeah, like otherwise I didn't really think about it. I just thought about I was just thinking about the story but also it is good. It's good to see so much representation on the screen in that regard. Like it's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Anything else? Anybody else? Thank you so much guys for coming on and being here with me. I haven't like I said, I haven't done this in a while. And I've never done a live before, so how are you supposed to end it? Do I just say bye? Bye, you beautiful beatniks. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, so also I do want to say, good to hear from you too. Yeah, I do want to say that I do have, if you want to follow me on Instagram or my username, yeah, that's it. My username is underscore Brandi Price, BrandIPrice, and I will have also, I have some groups on Facebook so that we can talk about, let's talk movies. So if there's a movie that you really want to see or you want to watch the movie that I'm going to be watching, I'll let you know. Yeah, I'm going to be on a lot more. I'm going to be on a lot more this year, Flickerman. So I will be there. So if you guys want to interact and help pick movies and talk to me over on Facebook groups, it's Let's Talk Movies. It's Facebook groups, it's like facebook.com/groups/. But if you look for Let's Talk Movies, you will find it because it's right there. So that will be on there. And sweet. Thanks, guys. You're amazing. Be kind and rewind if you haven't been, because you should be. Bye, you beautiful beatniks.